The bombs fell before dawn. By nightfall, the Philippines knew it was alone. In December 1941, the Philippines stood at the edge of a global war. It did not choose. A US Commonwealth preparing for independence, it suddenly became a frontline target after Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor. Within hours, Japanese aircraft struck Clark Air Base, crippling American air power on the island almost before it could rise. What led to the fall was not cowardice, but geography, timing, and overconfidence. Japan needed the Philippines to secure its southern expansion and cut American supply lines in the Pacific. The islands were close, exposed, and strategically priceless. The defenders, Filipino soldiers and American forces under General Douglas MacArthur, were brave but ill prepared. Supplies were limited, air cover was shattered, reinforcements never came. As Japanese troops landed across Luzon, MacArthur made a painful decision: retreat to the Bataan Peninsula and Corregidor Island. It was a gamble to delay the enemy, hoping help would arrive from the US. It never did. Weeks turned into months. Hunger became the real enemy. Filipino and American soldiers fought on half rations, then quarter rations. Malaria, dysentery, and exhaustion spread faster than bullets. Yet they held, longer than Japan expected. The delay disrupted Japanese timelines across Southeast Asia, making the defense of the Philippines strategically significant even in defeat. Then came the breaking point. On April 9, 1942, Bataan fell. What followed became one of the darkest chapters of the Pacific War. The Bataan Death March. Around 75,000 exhausted prisoners, mostly Filipino soldiers, were forced to march over hundreds of kilometers under brutal conditions. Beatings, executions, starvation, and dehydration turned surrender into slow execution. Thousands died before reaching prison camps. Soon after, Corregidor fell. The Philippines was fully under Imperial Japanese Army occupation. The aftermath was devastating. Japanese rule brought forced labor, food shortages, massacres, and the systematic crushing of resistance. Yet, the occupation also ignited one of the largest guerrilla movements in Asia. Ordinary Filipinos, farmers, teachers, students hid radios, passed intelligence, sabotaged supply lines, and kept hope alive in the jungles. Before leaving, MacArthur made a promise that became legend: "I shall return." In 1944, he did. The liberation of the Philippines was among the bloodiest campaigns of the Pacific War. Cities like Manila were reduced to ruins. Civilians paid the highest price, but the occupation ended. Why does this story still matter? The fall of the Philippines reminds us that history is not just written by victories. Sometimes resistance lies in holding out long enough to change the course of war. Filipino soldiers were not defeated by lack of courage, but by abandonment, disease, and impossible odds. And yet they endured. If stories of forgotten sacrifice deserve a place in memory, subscribe. Because history should never belong only to the victors. On this day.